Hey there, Luke.
Hello, Leo. I am.
A man with camera problems. Are you set? Are you set to answer my every question? Well, a question.
Now I've drunk some of my tea. I certainly am.
Excellent. My question is: Zen 3 Plus. Is it a thing, and do you care?
Zen 3 Plus, is it a thing and do I care? Now there's a question. Do I care? Yes, it's new stuff. We always care. Is it a thing? Who knows? I think we've discussed this previously, haven't we? Is there any real logic to Zen 3 Plus, considering that Zen 2 is incredibly competitive across the board at the moment? That would be the real question to me, initially.
Well, the rumours, according this is video cards pulling together as ever rumours from left, right, and centre, but it strikes me it's very, very, very plausible. Is Zen 3 Plus 6nm? I doubt there's any other architectural changes, but assuming it's correct, TSMC new process obviously is a thing, no doubt about that. Whether it's truly 6 versus 7 or whatever doesn't matter. The point is better, and then, assuming that's the case, is what will AMD be using 6nm in?
Yeah, I mean, just to fire back, I haven't read all that much about TSMC's roadmap for a while, but just to fire back on that 6nm point, I guess the question of when comes up, and is it kind of being pushed to the back burner, given that at the moment demand, which is being called quote unquote a shortage, is absolutely through the roof. So you'd think that any work going on for future processes is perhaps being somewhat less preferential compared to just delivering current output.
Okay, Apple's currently on 5nm.
That's right, yeah, but isn't that the 5nm? Because there's this split, I believe, isn't there, where there's the 5nm, effectively the low power node, so mobile node if you like, and then the other version would be, so I think it was the same with 7nm, wasn't it, where the other version would then be the high powered node, which is what desktop CPUs and data center CPUs, for example, go on. So there is that split, I believe, isn't there?
Well, this, as far as I understand it, the 6nm is probably lies in terms of names. It's a smaller number than 7. And the fact they were on 7, or rather, AMD is currently on 7 on the desktop, and yet Apple's on 5, leaves that lovely big 6-sized hole in the middle for a tweak or a refresh or a half node. So regardless of whether it is truly 6, better than 7 would be the obvious thought. The thing that intrigues me, a couple of points intrigue me about the leaked or pulled together roadmaps, is we've got desktop Ryzen 6000, because of course AMD's numbers are way out of kilter with the Zens. So Zen 3 Ryzen 5000, Zen 3 Plus Ryzen 6000 logically, apparently Warhol, and then mobile Ryzen 6000 Rembrandt, which intrigues me, but also apparently new Threadripper, also on 6nm. Another artist, Chagall.
What?
And new Threadripper, I must confess, I'm deeply excited by that, even though they're going to be horribly expensive.
Well, the first thing I'm going to point out is clearly I should have paid more attention in art class. I've heard of Warhol, but these other ones, yeah, just they sound like some French dudes, I guess. I don't know, French, Italian, I'm guessing. I have no idea, but whatever. I wasn't great in art, clearly. But new Threadripper, that would be an interesting one, seeing as we don't really have a current Threadripper. And I say that as...
Well, precisely the point. Therefore, this would suggest this is the reason why they've delayed the current Threadripper, because obviously there's no competition. So 6nm equals, which goes back to your point, so congratulations, of high power, oh yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? That's an interesting point. However, I would counter that argument saying, what would be the benefit to actually just skip in Zen 3 Threadripper? Because we know it's not a problem, it's not a power issue. I mean, the power numbers were through the roof, metaphorically speaking, for Zen 2 Threadripper. You've got the I/O die is already set there, and we know with kind of Ryzen 5000 desktop, not high-end desktop, it's almost just, and I don't oversimplify this because there's a lot of smart people doing hard work, but it's almost just a drag and drop for the new cores around the I/O die on the package. I'm struggling to see any downsides to bringing out a Zen 3 Threadripper in its current form on 7 nanometer with the chiplets currently available. But I think you and I discussed this previously, didn't we? Perhaps one of the factors is not, shall we say, annoying buyers who have literally only just bought their Zen 2 Threadripper Pro that you and I have both looked at quite recently.
I must confess, the Threadripper Pro side of thing hadn't occurred to me, but yeah, although if there's then a Zen 3 Plus Threadripper, it doesn't necessarily follow there's a Pro version anytime soon. So you've got the kind of leapfrog thing going on. If they're separating Threadripper from Epic from Threadripper Pro, then they could be treating them all as subtly different markets. I must confess, the way I was thinking of it was, at the high end, is that in the past, Epic came along good and early, whereas we've only just had the new Epics released officially. I mean, they've presumably been out there with their partners for a good long while.
That point is key. You said officially, didn't you? Officially, because released and officially are two very different things we've learned, haven't we? Where your big customers seem to get early preferential access, and then it's, by the way, guys, you can buy it too if you want.
Yeah. Congratulations, along you come. No, quite. So I wonder if this means that Threadripper Zen 3 Plus 6 nanometer is essentially getting ready to do chiplets, including on Epic. So they've just officially caught up with Epic, and off we go to the races yet again. No rest. The new cycle starts immediately.
I don't know. My feeling is I would be very, very surprised if we didn't see a Zen 3 Threadripper of some sort. I would be surprised if they skipped it and went straight to a theoretical, or hypothetical, I should say, 6 nanometer Zen 3 Plus. I would be genuinely really surprised. Not least because we saw a Zen Plus Threadripper, didn't we? Because the 2000 series Threadripper were indeed Zen Plus cores, weren't they?
Yep, absolutely. And remind me, did we like those Threadrippers, or did we think they were bad? Well,
I mean, the story of Threadripper is, when it first came out in the 1900 series, so Zen 1, oh my word.
I thought you were about to say the year 1900.
That's your time frame, not mine. No, I'm sorry, I shouldn't.
Okay, I'll let you have that. Keep going.
I was born in the 1900s, actually. I was born in the 1900s, to be fair.
Yes, true.
Still in nappies.
Anyway,
where was I?
Dragging this
So Zen 1 Threadripper, oh my god, what have they done? They're actually challenging. Zen 2 Threadripper, wow, this is superb. Except those big ones, which are weird. And then, sorry, I've just said Zen 2. Zen Plus 2000 series Threadripper, sorry. It was, oh my word, they're excellent. Those WXs are a bit weird. And then it was 3000 series Zen 2 Threadripper. Oh my goodness, they've absolutely nailed it. Can't see the downsides if you have a big enough credit card. I think it was as simple as that, really, wasn't it? So Zen 3 Threadripper,
agreed.
I can't see why you wouldn't keep up the cadence of just winning. I can't see any downsides. I really can't.
Okay. You can make the case, I think, either way for whether there'll be a Zen 3 Threadripper or Zen 3 Plus. And then going down the stack, desktop Ryzen 6000. Now, I think we can agree that unless something completely peculiar comes out of left and right field simultaneously, that a simple die shrink on the existing Ryzens will presumably, obviously, same core count and everything, same DDR4 support. You have to hope slightly faster DDR4, but I doubt it. And slightly faster clock speeds.
Yeah, that would be the key thing. I guess the slightly faster DDR4 is kind of a bit of an unfair point, because Ryzen and Zen can technically do decent speed DDR4, but because of the fabric clock and the memory controller clock tie-in, you don't want to go too far. So yeah, I know what you mean, but yeah, I agree with it. But faster clock speeds, yeah, I would say that even though they did a really good job with Ryzen 5000 with Zen 3 in regards to clock speeds, that would be the only key area of improvement I would see. Because even with current Zen 3 on 7 nanometer, or the refined 7 nanometer, the power efficiency is very good, especially when you look across the bow to where they're firing shots against with Intel. You realise just how good the power efficiency is. And
realistically, if the 8-core Ryzen 7 6000, if that can do 4.7, 4.8 gigahertz all cores, they're trampling absolutely on Intel's toes. Plus, the power draw is going to be substantially less than the, Core i7 11700K. I got it. You're in the realms of, at the moment, 4.6 gigahertz, would you say? All
Yeah,
cores?
kind of 4.5 to 4.6
4.65
with good cooling.
Right. And I think when I saw, when I did the recent benchmarking for the Rocket Lake launch, I think I saw the AMDs running at 4.65. Call it 4.6, so 4.7, maybe 4.8, and every single chunk of megahertz is a real win.
It is, because it seems like they've done a very good job in all the other areas. You've got the copious amounts of L3 cache, which are clearly proving good in gaming. The fundamental architecture and the AVX2 or AVX256 performance, if you like, still very good. We're not really seeing any downsides to having a lack of AVX512 at the moment on Zen 3. So yeah, like you say, it's just that clock speed bit that we want to continue seeing pushes forward, because that seems to be one of the few areas where you look at it and go, okay, a bit more of that would be nice.
And then going further down the roadmap to the bottom of the roadmap, mobile, which in this context is laptops, obviously, rather than some sort of desktop APU. Rembrandt, it looks like it introduces support for DDR5, specifically DDR5 and LP DDR5. Now that, in a laptop, particularly if it has AMD graphics, that is of keen interest to me.
That would be interesting. The one point I will say before mentioning the DDR5 is, on the APUs, and this is especially true on the laptops, AMD really needs to catch up on the graphics side of things, because the compute side of the APU is superb. The graphics side is now lagging to the point where actually Intel is a really good option if you want powerful integrated graphics, because it doesn't seem like AMD is a night and day.
Sorry to cut across. In a thin and light laptop specifically, these are the ones.
Yeah, so RDNA 2 or RDNA even 1 at this point would be fine. Just the fact that they're still shipping with the Vega cores, that's getting really old at this point.
Yes, indeed. So if Rembrandt is RDNA stroke RDNA 2 and seemingly in mobile form, it doesn't necessarily matter which it is, with LPDDR5, then that is a significant step forward to my mind. If on the other hand they stick with Vega, then ouchie ouchie. In terms of timeframes, the problem for me is that the two big pins in the year, middle of the year, Computex, very beginning of the year, turn of the year, CES. We've actually just today had an email saying CES 2022 is exactly when you expect, first week of January. It's like,
excellent,
if you say so. Yeah, quite, if you say so. Looking forward to that, yay. But Computex is a virtual thing, and I don't have any great faith that companies are going to be doing the big Computex reveal. If something happens to be around at that point, i.e. the end of May, beginning of June, great. But there's nothing particularly to drive companies to launch at that point rather than July or August.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head there, because like you say, usually you have this push because that's where you get all your exposure. The buzz that time period is just really, really high. Whereas now, like you say, if they slip back a few weeks, doesn't matter. As long as they hit that back to school period and then the holiday period or the Christmas period, it doesn't really matter if they hit Computex or just a week or two later, I guess.
Except the traditional back to school, back to college. Where's that in this past year? I mean, because home working and such like, as we've said, with laptops, it's like it's all great if it has this feature or that feature. How easy is it to commute on the train and type away? Don't care. Does it have a webcam? Care a great deal.
Did you just say train? What's a train?
No. My point exactly. All the things we used to discuss. Has it got transatlantic battery life? Can you commute on the train and do the such and such? Don't care. It's not leaving the blooming house or flat or whatever. But does it have a webcam? That's a big deal. So the back to school is like, well, yeah, but the working from home is critical now. So to my mind, any time they can bring out new hardware that's genuinely useful to the customer. Now, not Christmas, not back to school, not whatever. It's today.
Yeah, do you know what? You're spot on there, because the back to school was always just seen as fundamentally people needed somewhat of a generic laptop, and there was just a surge of sales for a laptop. But that's exactly the same as work from home. A lot of people don't necessarily need a powerful laptop for gaming or for video editing or whatever. They just need a generic laptop that's good, that's maybe portable, maybe somewhat decent battery life. and that serves them. That's exactly the same as the back-to-school market.
In fact, I'm going to trample on my own toes here, because to my mind, the whole back-to-school thing has always really been a sales for Q3. I mean, it's just an entirely bogus thing. Similarly, the holiday Christmas is a Q4. You know, it's just, what can we do? Let's have Easter sales for Q2. You know, it's nonsense.
Hey, don't forget Valentine's Day Q1.
Well, all right. Or which month is Black Friday? Because, you know, that's been the latest bogus artificial blooming thing, hasn't it?
November, yeah.
But now we've got the thing going on of because obviously people apparently stop using devices in their holidays. Well, what's a holiday? You know, do you want to take your laptop on the beach and watch? What are we talking about? You know, it's for this year, that's just blowing up as well. So even if you do the money I would have spent on holiday or this or that or the other, almost season ticket, I'll buy myself a £1,500, £2,000 device. So once again, could we please have the device?
Absolutely, yeah. And you raised another good point there, because it's a case of this is, you know, everything's changed, everything's blah blah blah, everything's awkward. Now, we can talk about graphics cards as a whole topic.
No. We'll do that another time. I'm not doing that this one. This is Zen 3 Plus. Focus, boy, focus.
Okay. I'm just going to mention that APUs are arguably more critical now than they ever have been. Good APUs
totally
with good graphics.
Yep.
And I'll just leave it at that for now.
Yep, indeed. And we know the audience knows this, but the frustrating thing here, apart from Intel with their cut down, no graphics processors, Intel processors are APUs. AMD, who have the technology to do good APUs, refuse to bloody sell them to us. And I'm looking at the cameras, I say that.
5700G, I'll have one of those, please. No, you won't.
God, would I?
Okay, thanks. Can you take my money from me? No. Excuse me? Yeah.
We will do APUs in a separate thing but honestly, that is so frustrating. And you could even make the case, if it could be produced as such, to do APUs even with Vega graphics still, and better yet, of course, APUs with RDNA, RDNA2, Navi, call it what you want, graphics. In the past, we used to argue, didn't we, when they cut them from 95 watts down to 65 and they increased the reduce the process, increase the efficiency. Right now, in my head is ready for an APU that's 125 watts.
Absolutely, yeah. Full fat CPU, full fat graphics cores.
Yeah,
give that to me, please.
Mini ITX case, mini ITX motherboard, decent cooler, and just an APU. I want it. I really want that badly. In the past, I'd have said we've all lost our minds, but please do it.
No, I completely agree, especially when you see the success of the Xbox. And here's a real life story, actually, with regards to the APUs, is my server that I use for work. So I've got a work server and a personal server. Personal server is kind of an old Intel chip from many years ago, but it's technically an APU because it's got integrated graphics. The CPU handles Plex, whatever. Work server is a very, very old AMD APU. So I think it's Kabini or AM1 Kabini. So this is ancient and not powerful. That is in absolutely dire need of an upgrade. And I want to upgrade, but I want an APU or, by comparison, an Intel CPU with an iGPU. I can't do it. Because if I want an APU, I either have to buy a system from somebody, an entire system, which is not a home server, or I have to go for the old 3000 series APUs, which are old CPU architecture and out of stock everywhere. Give me one of the new Zen 2 APUs, or even the Zen 3 APUs. I will happily buy one. I can't. Why?
I've been working on a Silverstone Milo 10 case review over the past few days. I'm going to get back to it quite soon. Very, very, very small case that doesn't have space for a graphics card, so therefore absolutely APU. And I have a Ryzen 5 2400G, which I've been running in it as part of what I've been doing. I'd forgotten I even had it. But
what's that? It's like 2018, I think. Is that 2018?
Well,
that's early 2018, isn't
Raven Ridge, but it was just like, and it's exactly that, which was like, so I had a quick look to see what the position was. Obviously, they are old and you can't buy them. But the 3000s, as you say, technically on sale, they were on sale to the public, but they are no longer in stock anywhere. And then the 4000s and 5000s, not on sale to the public, and you can't buy them. So, yeah, I've got a 2400G, which... last month, if I'd found it, well, not last month, 6 months ago, I would have designated as a piece of junk. Now, thank you.
Yeah.
Because what else can what else, as you say, can you put inside a tiny case that doesn't support a graphics card if you want AMD power? I mean, there are no options. And in that sense, they're doing me no favours at all. I'm unimpressed. Getting back to the Zen 3 Plus, though. So we're happy to accept that the next tweak of TSMC's process from 7 nanometer to 6 nanometer, whatever 6 nanometer means. No move in core counts on the desktop, no change in DDR4. We assume slightly higher clock speeds, and you're putting your foot down and you're saying Threadripper on Zen 3 Plus, not this year.
I'm not sure if I'd go out on a limb and make that claim. However, I would be surprised and somewhat disappointed, I guess, if we don't get a Zen 3 Threadripper at some point in the near future. I really want to see Zen 3 Threadripper. I really
Absolutely. Do. But if for some reason they decide not to bother bringing it out because it's fighting itself, if instead they bring out Zen 3 Plus Threadripper, you'll take that, won't you?
Absolutely. I can't have any complaints. However, if I have to wait an extra few months for that, maybe just give me Zen 3 Threadripper now and then do that one next.
Okay, so this year then I'm expecting to see Intel Alder Lake. We'll do that in another conversation, which whoopity-do. And meanwhile, you appear to have a whole new raft of Zen 3 Plus processors coming your way, and I'm jealous. Damn your eyes, Luke Hill. And I guess we... And I guess we split the difference and say it's now April. We've got Computex. It's not a Computex kind of release, I don't think. So you pencil it in for September, because for some reason that seems to be the after summer holiday launch period, doesn't it? September. So I am going to say here and now Zen 3 Plus September. And I'm going to be slightly more optimistic than you. I think there may well be a new Threadripper at that point. I'm going to be the optimistic one in this conversation.
Okay. I would say September could be a good point. I'd say perhaps, given that Zen 3 was, if I remember correctly, November, and the typical cadence has been, well, it was almost 14 months cadence with AMD, yep. But given that this is more of a refresh rather than a complete re-architecture, maybe sometime November I'd go with, but who knows? Speculation. We love a good bit of speculation.
It's all speculation. Oh, absolutely. There's no facts or figures here. Okay, so you, again then, in the timing, I'm being slightly more optimistic than you once again. Wow. Okay, Leo for the double optimism. Luke,
what has happened to me?
It's been a tough year. Okie dokie. We'll wrap this one. I think next time we're going to talk about graphics cards, possibly, but by God, do I want to dig into APUs at some point. But we'll leave those for another time. Right, I think we're done on this one, Luke. I think that's Zen 3 Plus speculation done to the nth degree. Catch you next time.
Yep, let's sign out. Luke
Cheers.
Hill for Kit Guru.
And Leo.
To you, Leo. I realise you can't see me, so that was completely useless. Like, subscribe, support us, chat with us on Discord. Catch you in the next one.